Dead by Daylight is a title that has really captivated a really large audience, guys. People absolutely love Dead by Daylight, myself included. What an exciting experience it's been with Dead by Daylight as they've continued to ramp up the production and give us continuous updates and new skins and customization, all the different things that go into Dead by Daylight. It's absolutely awesome. But of course, guys, on this channel, we talk about the future of gaming. And one of those titles that I want to talk about here in this segment of the show is Dead by Daylight 2. There's a lot of talk and speculation whether or not we're going to get a continuation of Dead by Daylight in some capacity or another. So I want to break down the things that we know so far about Dead by Daylight 2, what it could look like, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. In an article, guys, written by Tanner Deadman of Comic Book Gaming, Dead by Daylight's creators are thinking of other projects. They have no current sequel plans. However, continued interest in Dead by Daylight over the years has given developer Behavior Interactive the opportunity to expand the game considerably. Original and licensed DLC releases mean innovative characters like the Huntress can patrol realms like Nightmare on Elm Street, Springwood, and with a new chapter coming, it's evident the developer has no plans to slow the content down. Amid that support for Dead by Daylight, Behavior Interactive is also exploring some ideas for other projects to work on, but those ideas don't currently include plans for a sequel. So comicbook.com spoke to Dead by Daylight game creator Matthew Cote about some of Behavior Interactive's plans for the game's future and inquired about other projects the developer might be working on. Cody said the developer doesn't specifically have another project, but rather has some ideas people in the studio are kicking around. Dead by Daylight has given us the freedom, if you will, of being able to at least take a few more chances and create new IPs and create new games. Yes, there are some people currently working at Behavior that are thinking of other projects. What stage they're at and what shape they're in is something that we're not talking about right now, but we do have ideas. Now look, the way that I'll put it to you guys is this. When you start hearing developers talking about, hey, we're not necessarily talking about a sequel, but we're talking about ideas, in my mind, the success of Dead by Daylight, they're thinking about, sure, they want to continue servicing and updating Dead by Daylight, but they're thinking about what's next after this. And I believe that Dead by Daylight, even if that's not necessarily like right front and center as far as a sequel is concerned, it will be at some point in time. They're going to continue to want to ramp up that production. Dead by Daylight 2 makes a lot of sense, at least to me, just because a continuation would mean, obviously you have a lot of success from the first game, but that can roll right into the second game. You can add more features, game modes, things of that nature, and that could really create a lot of excitement around Dead by Daylight 2 because they really are creating something special with this franchise. Or I should say it's not a franchise yet, more so the title. I think that this is an interesting niche to be in, and it's true that in this little pond, we are a very, very big fish, but I think that the thing that really we identify with the most is the unusual multiplayer, Cote said. I think that that's probably the one aspect that is going to be a common thread between the different experiences without going into too much detail. I think that we like making games that are experiences that you can share with people. We want to make games that have not been seen before. So obviously talking about multiplayer, multiplayer is huge, guys. That's what everybody, that's what brings you back to a game, right, is multiplayer. You play a single player story and that's awesome, but after you're done playing it once or maybe a couple of times through, you're going to move on to another game. Multiplayer, though, brings you back to the experience over and over again. I feel that Dead by Daylight should, with a sequel, should have a full package, though. It should be multiplayer modes, which is obviously what really they focus on with Dead by Daylight 1, but I think having multiplayer, a continuation, would be awesome, but also having single-player story modes as well as co-op modes creates a lot more reason to come back. It also gives you more, it evolves the legacy, evolves the story of Dead by Daylight that they might be trying to tell, and that could be something really awesome as well. Now, two things are certain. Regardless of what project's behavior is planned in the future, support for Dead by Daylight isn't ending, and there aren't any current plans for a Dead by Daylight 2 or a similar sequel. When asked if a sequel to the game even made sense considering how much new content behavior has added and has still on the way, Cody said that 2 is a question the team asks itself frequently. He said there are around 800,000 to 900,000 people playing Dead by Daylight each day, and said the conclusion is always that it make no sense to split people between the original and a hypothetical sequel. It makes no sense to come up with a new game and tell these people, well, you can choose now. You can either play Dead by Daylight or you can play Dead by Daylight 2, he said. I don't think we stand to gain that much from creating a brand new game. The worst part is we'd have to stop working on Dead by Daylight, and that is not acceptable at this point. So totally get what he's saying here, but I look at games like Call of Duty, right? A game that comes out every single year, there's excitement that's built up every single year for the new Call of Duty title. Sure, you're splitting up the community between Black Ops 4 and Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare, it's whatever it might be, right? Warzone or any other title that ends up coming out, right? Black Ops Cold War and all these different titles that come out, but at the same time, it builds your community in a major way. Splitting the community, it can be scary at times, but a lot of times it's really important to continue innovating, because the moment that you stand still and the moment that you stop trying to innovate and try to raise the bar, somebody else is doing it. Some other company is going to be doing that and taking away those viewers. And I'll give you a great example of this would be Valve not making another Left 4 Dead title, and then you've got Turtle Rock Studios making Back 4 Blood. You've got all these other titles that are coming out like State of Decay and The Day Before, and all these different titles are coming to the fray to really start trying to take away viewers and players of these other titles. Left 4 Dead, I think, could have been absolutely massive if Valve cared enough about that franchise, but now we see other titles coming out like Back 4 Blood that's really going to try to just take a lot of those players away from, Left 4 Dead to a brand new game. So what I'm getting at is, yes, you don't want to split the fan base, but at the same time, you want to continue innovating. And if you don't, that's where you're going to run into some significant problems. So Coty presented another way of looking at the concept of a Dead by Daylight sequel, thanks to things like Behavior's Realm Beyond initiative that's leading to entire realms being updated over time, he said. Dead by Daylight effectively is Dead by Daylight 2 at this point. The graphic update is a great answer to that question. It says Dead by Daylight is Dead by Daylight 2. That's our Dead by Daylight 2, Coty said. We put a team to upgrade the current game instead of putting a game developing the next one. So to say the least, guys, I think that it's safe to say that Dead by Daylight 2 isn't coming out anytime soon based on the remarks made by Coty. So I'm a little bit concerned about Dead by Daylight 2, but I think that certainly thinking in the back of your mind that there is a possibility that they will make a sequel to Dead by Daylight at some point in the future would make a lot of sense to me. I totally get where he's coming from about, splitting up the fan base and such, but we see this all the time. I mean, if you don't innovate, you're going to end up, somebody else is going to be innovating better than you and is going to start taking those viewers away. So I just think that, yes, right now, Dead by Daylight doesn't need a sequel, but I think at some point in the future, we definitely have to revisit it, and hopefully we will get a sequel at some point. Whether you're talking more modes, more, better graphics, story modes, co-op, all of those things, guys, they can continue to innovate over time, and if they want to just do it with the original Dead by Daylight, that's fine. But I would love to see a sequel at some point or another. Let me know what you guys think, though, in the comment section down below about Dead by Daylight, the possibility of Dead by Daylight 2. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Dead by Daylight 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.